Today's first topic is chronic, unproductive cough. Chronicity is defined by more than 8 weeks. Acute cough is less than 3 weeks, and subacute cough is 3 to 8 weeks. Acute coughs you all deal with every day. The commonest example of subacute cough, which resolves in 8 weeks, is a post-viral tracheobronchitis cough, which you know that many patients keep on coughing after an episode of viral respiratory tract infection. What we are interested today is in how to deal with symptomatology-wise a chronic cough. How many of you get an X-ray done as a rule after 15 days of cough, as recommended by many? Almost all of you realize that we have to get an X-ray. So 8 weeks means that you've already done an X-ray. What we are going to discuss today is more than 8 weeks of cough where the X-ray has been done and the X-ray has not given you the diagnosis. If you've seen pulmonary cox on the X-ray, if you've seen interstitial lung disease on the X-ray, if you've seen mediastinal masses on the X-ray, your diagnosis is made. Now, when the X-ray is normal, is where the symptomatology becomes even more important. And you have to start asking the history retrospectively from the very beginning. It is commonly taught, most textbooks teach it, that the four commonest, next slide please. The four commonest causes of a chronic unproductive cough with a normal X-ray chest are these: ACE inhibitor use, reflux of acid, asthma, which includes what is known as cough variant asthma, and a post-nasal drip. These are the common four causes. These are what we learned last time, the horses. But remember, there are a lot of mules in the cough with a normal X-ray chest. Let us discuss the mules first. Just to revive, or for all those who don't know about horses, mules, and zebras, just a quick thing. There's a common idiom in medicine, diagnostic medicine. Whenever you hear hoof beats, think of horses, not zebras, meaning common things first. I modified this idiom a little bit. Whenever you hear hoof beats, think of horses, but do not ignore the mules. Mules are less common than horses, but more common than zebras. So there are some diagnoses which you should think of, which are a little less common. But if you miss them, you will never be regarded as a good clinician. What are the horses here with a normal X-ray chest? These four. What are the mules? Chronic cough, X-ray normal. Is tuberculosis a possibility? Yes. What kind of tuberculosis? Mediastinal lymph nodes, endobronchial tuberculosis will both present with normal X-ray sometimes. Is interstitial lung disease possible? Early interstitial lung disease may be missed and will need a CT scan. Is bronchiectasis possible? It is possible, it will miss, but it is not a dry cough. Usually bronchiectasis is a productive cough. Is a bronchogenic carcinoma possible? Endobronchial carcinoma sometimes may not appear on an X-ray chest. And so there are several diseases, mediastinal masses may not be seen on X-ray chest. Several diseases that are possible. So these are the mules. But the horses are these. Can we have the next slide, please? ACE inhibitor use is a very frequently encountered by the family physician cause of dry cough. If a patient comes with 3 weeks history of cough to you for the first time, nobody's seen him before, and he is on Ramipril, 3 weeks cough, dry, on Ramipril, will you do an X-ray chest? Your rule was 15 days. This is 21 days. Will you do an X-ray chest? How many of you will do an X-ray chest even if the patient is on Ramipril? About 50%, less than 50%. Okay, so somebody said you can wait by withdrawing the ACE inhibitor and seeing whether the cough is. My one rule here is this. If the patient has throat irritation along with the dry cough, this is very characteristic symptom of ACE inhibitor side effect. Throat irritation, need to clear throat, throat irritation, and a dry cough. If you have that, don't do an X-ray, withdraw. Within a few days, the cough will probably disappear. What is the time frame in which the cough disappears? Maximum. 4 weeks is what you can wait for before the cough disappears and before you decide that you want a CT scan or other investigations. So you can wait for 4 weeks, and then if you switch from an ACE inhibitor to an ARB, will the cough take more time to disappear? Remember this, ARBs do not cause cough. Take it as a thumb rule, take it as a law. ACE inhibitors cause cough, ARBs do not cause cough. So you can switch to ARB immediately and still the cough will resolve. Correct? Okay. I have written here, throat irritation is typical and almost a sine qua non. What is a sine qua non? What is a sine qua non? Anybody? Indispensable feature. If you almost, I'm saying almost here, actually almost and sine qua non are oxymoronic when put together, but almost a sine qua non means if you don't have throat irritation, you should doubt your diagnosis and investigate further. Correct? So this is about ACE inhibitor use. Next slide, please. One thing about ACE inhibitors I forgot. After starting ACE inhibitors, in how much time would the dry cough appear if it has to appear? Anybody? Can it appear after 6 months? After 6 years? Yes, after years you can get a dry cough. The patient will tell you, "Magar ye to main saalon se le raha hu." Still, that can be a side effect. Okay. The second cause of chronic dry cough is GE reflux. A very common cause. We have some ENT friends here also. Paradoxically, the commonest drug prescribed by ENT physicians, surgeons, is PPIs. PPIs, not steroids, PPIs. Because they are often approached for cough and they recognize correctly that PPIs will resolve the cough. So gastroenterologists are not the people who write the most PPIs. ENT surgeons are the ones who write the most PPIs. Proton pump inhibitors are antacid medicines. So a G reflux cough is a dry cough, correct? What are the other features that make you recognize in symptoms? Heartburn, regurgitation of food, water brash. What is water brash? Excessive salivation as a feature of acid reflux. These may or may not be present, correct? Can you have just dry cough as a manifestation of reflux? Yes. So that is important to remember. Is this cough more at night? When the patient lies supine, whether in the afternoon or in the night, this cough is more. So you have to differentiate it from nocturnal cough variant asthma, where the patient has cough in the night, more in the night, by just the timing. Cough variant asthma is maximum in the early mornings, and this is almost immediately on lying down, correct? Next slide, please. Asthma. Now, there are two forms of asthma that we'll discuss here. One form is where there's a classic triad of cough, dyspnea, and wheeze. That is fairly easy to diagnose. When the asthma is a cough variant asthma, where cough is the predominant or the only symptom, and there is no dyspnea, no wheeze, sometimes no wheeze, that's called cough variant asthma. Now that becomes the tricky diagnosis. Cough variant asthma will present with dry cough, occasional very scanty mucoid expectoration, but predominantly dry cough. How will you diagnose? Which symptom will 100% tell you that this is cough variant asthma? One, pathognomonic symptom. Anybody? exercise-induced cough, okay? Spasmodic cough can be seen in many varieties, in tracheobronchitis or any. One thing that is pathognomonic is geography variations. Must ask the patient, are you much better when you are in another city than when you are in Mumbai? Or are you much better? Sometimes that happens. Are you much better in Mumbai than when you are in Mahabaleshwar? That can also happen, correct? So, if there is variation significant in the cough, where the cough without any medication just disappears when the patient travels to New York or Paris or Mathiran, this is cough variant asthma. Almost certainly, this is a better diagnostic feature than pulmonary function test, correct? Okay, so cough variant asthma, as somebody said, worsens on exercise. All irritative asthma, all irritative coughs worsen on talking loudly, worsen on laughing out loud. And so these are not diagnostic symptoms, right? But cough variant asthma definitely worsens early morning, especially in the months of, which months? Winter months, when the smog is more, especially early mornings. So if you were to, in January, take part in the Stanchart Mumbai Marathon, early morning, 5 o'clock people gather, just go around and see how many people are coughing badly. Yeah, that will give you the approximate incidence of cough variant asthma in the population. So that can happen. Okay, so we have asthma. Next slide, please. A fanciful term for post-nasal drip is this upper airway cough syndrome. That is the new term given to post-nasal drip. We'll still call it post-nasal drip. Post-nasal drip comes from sinuses or the nose. So rhinosinusitis can cause post-nasal drip and then can cause chronic, usually unproductive, occasionally mucoid sputum cough. This is not very difficult to diagnose because often the patient will have symptoms of rhinosinusitis, rhinorrhea, nose block, etc. But sometimes the patient do not. Are we talking about bacterial rhinosinusitis or allergic rhinosinusitis? Allergic rhinosinusitis. So in these patients, often you will have symptoms of allergic rhinitis, early morning sneezing, watering from the nose, and and cough. This is not difficult to diagnose. However, ever so often, your diagnosis will also depend on a therapeutic trial. Give proton pump inhibitors, antacids, cough improves, GARD. Give anti-allergic drugs, Montelukast, cetirizine, cough improves, post-nasal drip. So often the diagnosis here will be a therapeutic trial, but symptoms will usually help you. Next slide, please. This we discussed, if the cough is 3 to 8 weeks, bothersome, and you can't do much about it, doesn't respond to antitussives, this is a post-viral tussive syndrome. And you just have to reassure the patient that time will heal. Next slide, please. Smoker's cough. Often a chronic smoker, 20 years of smoking, will come to you with a cough. If the smoker comes to you with dry cough, that means he doesn't have smoker's cough as the cause. Do you understand what I mean? A smoker will never come because of the smoker's cough. He knows what is a smoker's cough. He knows better than you that he has a smoker's cough. The distinctive features of smoker's cough are, it lasts only a few seconds to few minutes, and usually it occurs after the first cigarette of the day. This the smoker recognizes, and he will never go to a doctor for this cough. If a chronic smoker comes to you with chronic cough, it means that there is something else other than smoker's cough. Next slide, please. There is this thing that many of you must have seen in your practice. Many patients come to you with ऐसा करना पड़ता है पूरा दिन, खांसी आती रहती है, irritate होते रहते हैं, and it doesn't fit into anything, does not respond to anything. Antibiotics have been given, anti-allergics have been given, proton pump inhibitors have been given. This patient continues to have this dry cough, throat irritation, sticky sensation in the throat. Now this is a problem. Harrison actually calls it a distressingly common condition. Cough hypersensitivity syndrome or chronic idiopathic cough. Supposed to be common in women, supposed to be psychosomatic, and it is a diagnosis of exclusion. There is no treatment, at least in allopathic medicine. We cannot treat this cough. We have to reassure the patient. Everything has been done, CT scan, endoscopy, everything has been done, nothing has been found. We just have to reassure the patient that you don't have a disease. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's the end of this first lecture. Thank you very much for the patient hearing. I request Dr. Tushar Manyar to come and introduce our guest for the day.